over 70 days since the fire broke out at 30 Tughlaq Crescent on Tughlaq Road in the national capital, the official bungalow of the then Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Varma. Now, it took almost a week for the first details of the incident to emerge and few more days after the actual pictures that came to light. Now, while the fire was almost doused immediately, it is where it emerged from the ruins that had shocked the country's conscience. Pictures of piles and piles of cash that lay burnt and half burnt. Even as the government mulls impeachment of Justice Varma, with the process likely to start as early as in the upcoming monsoon session, Times Now means to be unraveling the truth here. The truth that has now been established after a 33-day-long investigation was carried out by a 3-judge panel that was constituted by the Supreme Court. After examining over 50 witnesses, the truth has been chronicled in black and white in a 64-page report. And this report, which has been accessed by Times Now, is currently with the President of India. That has been submitted by the CGI. Let's break down the details of the report. What did the 3-member inquiry committee sought to investigate? 3 key questions that were asked to Justice Varma. First, explain the presence of the cash. Second, explain the source of the cash. And third, explain the removal of the cash. Meanwhile, there has been more damning part of the investigation that is now coming from this report of a video in particular that was shot by one of the first responders on the intervening night of 14th and 15th of March when the fire was reported, showing that Justice Varma's staff was present at the fire site when half-burnt cash was recovered. Watch this video before we break down the significance of it.
महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही है भाई
Meanwhile, the man who is calling for Rahil, as you can hear in that purported video clip, is R.S. Karki. Now, who is Justice Varma's private secretary? Now, while Mohammed Rahil is Justice Varma's domestic staff, in their examination of this video, Mr. R.S. Karki has admitted that it is his voice, and Mohammed Rahil also initially conceded that he was the one who was being called in that video. However, he has later changed his statement. But what this establishes is that Justice Varma's staff was very much present at the spot and debunking Justice Varma's claim that his staff had no knowledge of any burnt cash that was recovered from the residence. Let's get in a word from Pragya now. Pragya, as we are looking at the proceedings now to move forward, what happens in the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament with the government now mulling possible impeachment?
Absolutely, and government is of the view. In fact, if Justice Yashwant Varma has decided not to resign or to take voluntary retirement as suggested by CGI, then it means that there is the next step is that there will be impeachment process that will begin. Now, Parliament can impeach any sitting judge, and it is also the prerogative of Parliament. But it only comes through President, because President is the appointing authority, and President, in fact, has the right to remove any judge. But for that, in fact, both the houses need to approve and pass this particular impeachment motion by 2/3 of the majority. What we are given to understand is also that government has also reached out to few opposition parties, and the process has just begun. They are reaching out to opposition parties to have a consensus so that there will be no failed impeachment motion. Last time also there had been in the past 2-3 impeachment that had come to the Parliament, but they all failed. So they do not want this to fail, and this is why there is a process of having generation of this consensus on part of the government to ensure that there will be initiation of the removal of this particular judge. Now, this has also come under corruption case, and many of the opposition parties are still saying that they are going to support this particular impeachment motion because there is ample evidence, and in fact the videos that Times Now has shown clearly shows that also the video that have come from the witnesses also show a burnt cash and also stacks that have been burnt in the fire. So all of that is quite out in the open, and there is very little scope of deniability as far as Mr. Varma is concerned. And this is why the government is very sure that that it is going to bring impeachment motion in monsoon session, and when it brings, it is going to see the light of the day, because many of the opposition parties are also of the same view.
All right. Well, those are the developments that are now coming to light. But will all political parties keep aside their political ideologies to come together as far as this impeachment motion, according to sources that we are learning that the government is mulling to bring upon this monsoon session? Let's introduce Harish is also connected with us live. So is Swapnil Kothari, our guest, joining us here on the broadcast. And Matthews Day Nidumpara, who is a petitioner in Justice Varma case, also joining us here on the broadcast. But a quick question as far as with Harish is also concerned, because as far as what has been, when it comes to the conclusive statements that have come in from the panel, that actually was part of this investigative team that was probing the cash haul.
Yes, in fact, the in-house probe panel set up by the then Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna has concluded that this particular judge, Justice Yashwant Verma, has belied the trust imposed on him, and as there is clear evidence of misconduct, and said that the outhouse in question, the access to it is only available after the permission is taken from from Justice Verma, and that contradicts his claim that he has nothing to do with the outhouse, it's not part of the house, and all and sundry had entry to the particular outhouse. And the panel also said that there is evidence that the video which had surfaced, which was shot, that was from particular outhouse only and not anywhere else. And also there is the most strongest indictment is that there is also proof of destruction of evidence, because the remaining burned cash and the remaining vats of notes that had disappeared, and the committee says that in the wee hours of next day they had been removed. That is why the then Chief Justice found that it's a fit case for impeachment, because this particular judge has refused to resign or go on a voluntary retirement.
Yes.
And therefore, that is why the then Chief Justice had no option rather than writing to the President of India, Prime Minister of India, and also annexing the in-house panel's report along with these letters. And why this opposition outreach to the opposition is very important is because for placing a motion, 50 members of Lok Sabha or 100 members of 50 members of Rajya Sabha and 100 members of
Yes, it's a parliamentary process that needs to be followed, but will it actually proceed in a way that the government wants? Swapnil, what are your thoughts on that? Because if it is likely to bring this impeachment motion against Justice Verma, after this three-member judge panel found that there is credence in the allegations that the then CGI Khanna has recommended impeachment.
Amita, as we spoke yesterday, I still believe that there will be some spoke in the wheel. 50 crores cash does not come without some political hand in it. Now, to get the requisite numbers, I hope that the opposition and the current dispensation align together and say that, yes, there is corruption in the judiciary. We need to remove this rot. We need to remove this man. He's chosen not to resign, which itself is very shocking to me. Because earlier, when, in case of a particular judge, when a Rajya Sabha passed a motion, before the whole impeachment process went through, Amita, the person resigned. So people have been conscientious enough, albeit a little late, but to resign and to save face and to say that, okay, the judiciary is bigger than any individual. Now, be that as it may, Amita, my point is that if there is political involvement in this, which I'm sure there is, it's not for 50 crores at one shot, it's a slew of judgments. Then I think, I hope, and it's a wishful thinking to me, that the requisite numbers are met. Because in the case of Justice Ramaswamy, the numbers were not met. So, there has never been a full process of impeachment since the past 70 years. And just imagine, Amita, there has been a much brouhaha and a hue and cry about the fact that their judges should not be judging their own. Just imagine if there was ever a political figure involved in the appointment of judges, what kind of clout he or she, that person would have had over this kind of an impeachment process. So it's better that judges judge their own. At least they'll follow the book. There'll be some sort of biases. But just imagine, I can only shudder to imagine in this country where elected representatives, there was an argument made that elected representatives should be there involved. Who are the persons who are elected? With crimes, criminal records, most of them are the persons who have been elected. So I don't want to get into that because that's a separate discussion for another day. But be that as it may, I hope this impeachment process goes through, Amita, because if it doesn't, this person will sit in the court. We will, abandon his court. We will not go to his court. Eventually, he'll have to step down. But that's very ugly. That just sets a very, very bad tone.
Right. But more importantly, as far as restoration of faith, when it comes to our judicial proceedings, Mr. Matthews, because you've been advised also to first approach appropriate authority by way of representation before bringing up the matter to the Supreme Court. But how important do you believe that there is a need to cover up the damage being done?
See, one thing, everybody is talking about impeachment. Impeachment is certainly a great step, and it will happen. It will certainly happen. But that is not enough. That is hardly enough. If the gossips or the rumors are to be believed, the police did make a discreet investigation. And the rumor says, I'm nobody to identify it. It said the total amount involved is 500 crores. And it is not Justice Varma alone. There are others involved. So therefore, impeachment is actually is a easy route, escape route. What is a criminal? It's a crime. Impeachment is a civil aspect, removing somebody from a job. It's a crime. It has to be investigated. Who are the bribe givers? How many were there? There are a lot of rumors, and the bribe givers who are in the way, who stand in the way of any kind of investigation. What has to be done is a FIR, registration and FIR, investigation by the police. The police machinery, criminal law into motion. The very core of our constitution is that equality before law and equal protection of law.
Right.
All are equal before law. The only one exception is the and the governor. There cannot be proceeded in a criminal law and a criminal proceeding while they are in office.
Well, let me take that question to also Swapnil, because we've been also speaking to many, legal advisors on this case. Exactly why no criminal proceedings, as Mr. Matthews is pointing out, was put in motion. Neither from the side of the judge himself in question. He would have had a chance rather to counter or to challenge when it comes to the allegations or the charges were leveled.
Amita, there is a certain process that has been spelled out by the Supreme Court itself when it comes to corruption. So what Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna did is he followed the process. That's the book. And then thereafter, there is impeachment, which is spelled out in the Constitution. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be an FIR. You can do it, but post this impeachment proceedings, because whilst there is one process which is on, you may want to seek permission from the Chief Justice, Mr. Gawai, he might even give that to you. That, okay, proceed with the FIR. Then you go ahead with the FIR, and that too also with the President and the Prime Minister also, you have to take them into the loop and say that, okay, are you okay with the fact that there is a parallel FIR going on with the impeachment proceedings? Now, in as much as enthusiastic that I would be, that there should be equality before the law, and he should be criminally processed and criminally tried. Imagine if on one hand the impeachment proceedings are on, where Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha are involved, Amita, and on the other side where there is this investigation going on. Don't you think that there will be some sort of an overlap or some sort of a problem created in that sort of a thing? I'm not saying don't do it. All I'm trying to say is that do it, but do it in a methodical fashion. Do it one after the other. So first follow the book, what is there. Yes, if you want that criminal FIR should be there.
But I think Mr. Matthews has a counter opinion there. Yes, Mr. Matthews.
With the greatest respect, you are completely wrong. The criminal proceedings cannot be delayed. All evidence, in fact, it has been long delayed. When a crime occurs, immediate an FIR has to be filed. The police criminal law has to set into motion. The place of occurrence has to be secured. The investigative process has to be immediately. You cannot delay even for a moment. It cannot be delayed even for a moment. Delay has occurred.
But the Supreme Court has said, if there is no action, then come to us. Isn't it, Mr. Matthews?
Exactly. Really wrong. See, the judge, what is this Veerasamy? It's a mischief. Judges wrote a judgment to protect themselves. That is against law. Let us be very clear.
Then who will be responsible for the cleanup of the judiciary then?
No, then that is where in a democracy means the parliament has a role. Our MPs and MPs may be corrupt, but you can't say entire parliament is corrupt. You cannot say they represent the people.
Yes.
If somebody is rotten, then we are not a democracy.
Well, quick counter, Swapnil. I have another breaking update coming.
Yes.
Quick counter.
Yes.
Yeah. So, very quickly, Amita, I am not saying don't do it. I am saying that there is a procedure prescribed in the book. If you want to challenge the Veerasamy judgment, that's for another day. You can't bring it within the purview here. You do it
मेरे
on a
सामने ही
separate basis.
मेरे सामने
I'm
ही
not
सबसे-
saying that. What I am trying to say, Mr. Matthews, please let me complete. You made a point. Now let me just make a point.
Yes, quickly,
I am
because
not
we
saying
have
that.
another
All I'm
breaking
saying is
update.
that
Yes,
follow
Swapnil.
the book.
Yes.
Follow the book. The book doesn't prescribe parallel FIR right now. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm saying follow the book. Don't twist it.
My dear
I'm
friend,
not saying you.
Swapnil,
I'm saying the judges should not be twisting it.
So,
That's all.
what you say is
Do it. Do it. Very much do it. Put a criminal
All right,
FIR,
that
put
will
a
depend
ban
on the
against it.
proceedings there, exactly how it moves on. Swapnil and Mr. Matthews, appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. Of course, the legal opinion that has now been coming in, but it is actually when it comes to the proceedings that will follow that needs to be also covered in this case. As the government seems to be mulling the judge's impeachment, the Congress party, meanwhile, is seeking an all-party meeting. The Congress party is of the opinion that the centre should rather convene an all-party meeting and keep political parties on the same page.
देखिए, मैं एक चीज बताऊं, भारत के संविधान की जो एक प्रक्रिया है इम्पीचमेंट का, सुप्रीम कोर्ट उसे भेजता है, विचार करती है सरकार। सरकार अगर इम्पीचमेंट लाना चाहेगी तो सर्वदलीय बैठक बुलाएगी, उसमें जो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने लिखा है, जो जांच की फाइंडिंग है, उस पर सब पे चर्चा होगी। हम इस व्यक्तिगत केस पे तो कुछ नहीं कहते, पर हमेशा भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ हम रहे हैं। अगर सरकार इम्पीचमेंट के मसले पे भ्रष्टाचार का कोई मुद्दा लेके आएगी तो निश्चित रूप से कांग्रेस पार्टी गुणों दोष के आधार पर उसका समर्थन करेगी।
So actually, to go ahead, when it comes to the proceedings of impeachment of a judge, there are parliamentary when it comes to proceedings that need to be set in motion. But when it comes to bringing together political parties on the same page, that is something that what is being said that the government is mulling and it is reaching out to political parties as well. The Congress party on its own has been seeking that the constitutional process of impeachment as it is laid down, that involves when it comes to the recommendations made by the Supreme Court, followed by the government deliberating on those recommendations. And if the government intends to bring an impeachment motion, then there should be an all-party meeting that should be convened to discuss the findings and the recommendations of the Supreme Court investigation, especially in this case when it comes to the panel findings. Now, the Congress party says that they are of the opinion that they would not want to comment on individual cases, but they have stood firmly against corruption. So, according to the Congress party, if the government plans on bringing an impeachment motion based on corruption, then the Congress party will certainly support it. That is the kind of opinion that is now coming in from the Congress party's side, where they are seeking an all-party meeting to be convened by the government of India. In the meantime, speaking of the Allahabad High Court Bar Association, because coming at a time as far as Justice Varma is concerned, if you remember, they were vehemently protesting as far as sending him back or his recommendation is concerned. Joining us here on the broadcast is Mr. Anil Tiwari, who is the president of the High Court Bar Association. Sir, thank you very much for taking out your time. First up, what is your opinion? आपका क्या कहना है अगर इस रिपोर्ट के बारे में बात की जाए, उसके ऊपर आपकी क्या राय है?
लेकिन सबसे पहला सवाल तो ये है कि रिपोर्ट आज तक पब्लिक डोमेन में नहीं लाई। पब्लिक डोमेन में ना लाना ये बात जाहिर करता है कि उस रिपोर्ट में कुछ ऐसे कंटेंट्स हैं जो बहुत शॉकिंग भी हो सकते हैं। My question is whether public of India, people of India are not entitled to know the contents of their said report. If they are not entitled, let the system say this. उनको कहना पड़ेगा कि आप नहीं entitled हो। अगर डेमोक्रेसी में पीपल ऑफ इंडिया नहीं इंटाइटल्ड है ये बात जानने के लिए, तो अगला सवाल ये उठ जाएगा कि इंडिया इज ए डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री और नॉट। इट इज नॉट ए हिटलर शाही। तो हमको सबसे पहला तो मेरा इशू ये कंसर्न है कि ये पब्लिक रिपोर्ट पब्लिक डोमेन में आनी चाहिए इमीडिएटली विदाउट ए सिंगल डे। दूसरा कंटेंट हमारा रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि इम्पीचमेंट के लिए गवर्नमेंट को भेज दिया। गवर्नमेंट ने ये भी स्टैंड ले लिया कि जुलाई में इम्पीचमेंट मोशन मूव होने जा रहा है। तो ये एक वेलकम स्टेप है, इस स्टेप का हम वेलकम करते हैं, स्वागत करते हैं। लेकिन यहां भी कंसर्न मेरा ये है कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को इस रिपोर्ट को पब्लिक करना पड़ेगा, पब्लिक कर देना चाहिए। गवर्नमेंट भी इस पे अभी तक पब्लिक नहीं किया। तीसरा मेरा इशू ये उठता है कि इम्पीचमेंट की प्रक्रिया इससे पहले भी हुई है। लेकिन पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज अपने पॉलिटिकल कंसिडरेशंस के कारण इस इम्पीचमेंट को कभी होने नहीं देते। मैं आपके इस चैनल के माध्यम से अपील कर रहा हूं सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को कि आज के डेट में हिंदुस्तान में वो टाइम आ चुका है जब अपने सारे पॉलिटिकल मतभेदों को भुलाकर इस इम्पीचमेंट को सफल बनाएं, जिससे कि ये सिग्नल जाए कि हिंदुस्तान में डेमोक्रेसी जिंदा है और हिंदुस्तान की जनता ही वाकई रूल कर रही है, कोई और नहीं रूल कर रहा। एक ये सिग्नल अच्छा जाएगा, तो ये मेरी अपील उनसे है
जी।
लास्ट इशू मेरा ये है कि इम्पीचमेंट तो एक डिसिप्लिनरी प्रोसीडिंग की तरह है। इम्पीचमेंट के अलावा जो क्रिमिनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए था, एफआईआर होनी चाहिए थी, वो क्यों नहीं अब तक हुई? एफआईआर में भी डिले करना भी पब्लिक ट्रस्ट को डैमेज पहुंचा रहा है। पब्लिक ट्रस्ट को डैमेज अगर हो गया, इतना मैं आपके चैनल के माध्यम से बिल्कुल अनडिस्प्यूटेड किसी भी तरह का वेग स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, स्पेसिफिक स्टैंड में लेके कह रहा हूं कि एक दिन भी देरी किए बगैर तुरंत एफआईआर लॉन्च करना चाहिए। एफआईआर की परमिशन अगर रिक्वायर्ड है तो वो सीजीआई साहब से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि वो इसकी परमिशन दें, जिससे कि एफआईआर लॉन्च हो और
जी
पब्लिक ट्रस्ट को जो डैमेज हुआ है वो डैमेज कंट्रोल।
So restoration as far as public faith in judiciary is concerned that you are asking for. Thank you very much, Tiwari ji. आपका बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. Moving on, another round of breaking update. What we are learning that a retired High Court judge on Times Now, as we are getting this news break, has been of the opinion that judiciary corruption has been exposed. However, he has called the transfer move as a sham action. This is by Justice Dhingra, who has slammed the cover-up bid as far as what has been happening in the Justice Varma case.
The Times now has accessed the indictment report of the in-house panel that was formed to probe into the allegations that were leveled against Justice Yashwant Varma, and they have said that there was burnt cash and the remaining cash that was there was removed. How do you see this entire incident that had happened and the report that has come out now?
See, this incident exposes the deep corruption which is prevalent in judiciary, and the subsequent events expose that the corruption is trying to be put under wrap, under the carpet, and the option given to this judge regarding, you see, that either you resign or you take voluntary retirement shows how the judges, corrupt judges, are being protected. You see, if you are giving an option to a corrupt person that you retire, take voluntary retirement, or you resign and then nothing will happen, that means you are rewarding, because once he takes voluntary retirement, he gets all perks and benefits of a retired High Court judge. So you are actually rewarding the corruption. And those, you see, I consider those who shield the corrupt and those who are corrupt, they are equally corrupt. And the earlier action also of transferring him to Allahabad High Court, it is just like, you see, cheap police action. When a police person is found corrupt, he is transferred from one police station to another police station, or from police station to lines, and after...
Well, retired High Court Judge Justice Dhingra is of the opinion where he seems to be slamming the cover-up bid that is now taking place in currently as far as Justice Varma case is concerned. We're going to get you more on that follow-up breaking updates also coming in with my colleague Siddharth, who joins you on the other side of a very short break.